Welcome to the Anchor Your Retirement podcast. I am your host coming to you from snowy Kansas City with my not so snowy co-host, Tony Shore. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Actually, I'm up here in Minnesota right now, Barb, and it is snowing right now, and we
Okay.
finally have some snow on the ground, about a half inch. So that's
I have
really the first snow.
16 inches on the
I,
ground at my
I
house,
I know you guys
and you
got
can have
slammed.
it back.
Yeah,
I'm not selfish.
I saw the map of Kansas when you guys were getting hit hard a couple of days ago, and
Hmm.
um a few days ago, and the map of Kansas showed the highways, all the
Uh-huh.
highways, and it showed the ones
All
that
of
were
them in
closed.
red.
They were
Yeah,
all in red, and it said all the red marked highways are closed. It was every highway. It
it
was like
was. It
so they
was.
were all closed, I guess.
They did not want us driving, and I
No,
none of us wanted to be. It wasn't now 11 inch. We got like 11 or 12 inches over the weekend,
sure.
which is an unusual volume for us.
Yes, that's a lot.
And that wasn't the problem as much as it was the layer of ice underneath it.
That's terrible.
And
Yeah.
we had incredibly cold temperatures, so the chemicals that they normally, the salt and the brine that they normally put down, were not going to thaw the ice.
Right.
Um, I I was out and about on Saturday before it hit and went and got my hair done so that I'm ready for the summit next week.
Yep.
Um, girls got to do what a girl's got to do. And my hairdresser is about 25 miles from where I live. I stopped by my boyfriend's house on the way home. He's about right in the middle. And I'm like, I would really like to stay and hang out, but I'm afraid if I do, I'm going to get caught. And it was like the best decision I had made because an hour and a half after I got home, everything was a sheet of ice. And then, the snow started coming, and I took progressive pictures of my back door and my back deck, letting my dog out. Um, and I was so grateful. My whole team worked from home on Monday because they were telling me
Sure.
don't get on the roads and the highways were closed.
Right.
Um, we did a Zoom meeting with everybody and set our priorities for the week and for the next few days and got things going there. And then I was like, I get to go out and shovel my driveway now. Again, 11 inches of snow.
Sure.
Best day of my life.
Oh.
I went My neighbor had a snowblower, and
Ah.
he had cleaned my driveway for me. He'd cleaned There's like
Oh.
6 of us right around,
That's
6 or
nice.
7 driveways that they went around and cleaned so that, we didn't have to worry about it. It was so nice to just have to worry about shoveling my front porch area because he didn't get up and snowblow that, which he shouldn't have.
Right.
Um, so yeah,
Nice neighbor.
amazing
Yeah.
neighbor,
Yeah.
amazing neighbor.
We
Gary,
do
if
that
you're
for each
listening to
other
this
on our
podcast,
cul-de-sac too. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, that's nice.
it's because I've lived in the same neighborhood for over 25 years at this point.
Wow.
So, yeah, there's just you cannot replace good neighbors, plain and
You
simple.
you can't. I mean, yeah, we that's why we've stayed in this house. We've kind of outgrown it, but we've been here 25 years. We love our neighborhood. Our kids grew up here. We
Mhm.
love our neighbors, so we're just like, well, we're kind of here now. And
Yes,
we're so
yes.
settled in, but we've been thinking about moving to like a one level,
Mhm.
getting ready, to age in place, but
It is hard to think about that, isn't it?
yeah, but it's something we need to think about. Speaking of that, Barb, you wanted to talk about being prepared.
Yes.
Even if you're
Even
not a Boy Scout or a Girl
Right,
Scout, be
right,
prepared.
and I can talk about Scouts because both my, son-in-law and brother-in-law are Eagle Scouts. All of my son-in-law's brothers, in fact, are Eagle Scouts. Your son, you said, is an Eagle Scout,
My
right?
son, our firstborn, my oldest,
Mhm.
Adam Shore, he is an Eagle Scout, and we're very proud of him. He really worked hard throughout. He loved the Scouts. He did all the major Scout trips. He did Sea Base in Florida. He did Philmont,
Oh,
where
wow.
they hike for days on end, and in the desert and in the mountains, and he loved scouts and did
Mhm.
so well in scouts. It was so good for him.
But their first rule of thumb is to always be prepared.
Be prepared. Like if you get a blizzard or what's happening in sad, right, in California.
It is gut-wrenching to hear
Yeah.
what's going on in Florida, and, one of the things that really struck a nerve with me, first of all, the devastation is unfathomable.
It is crazy. Even the Hollywood sign, the fires are getting around that
Yeah.
up on the Hollywood Hills. And
And,
yeah,
and I was watching a network TV program, and they were interviewing a celebrity whose house has been destroyed, and he talked about evacuating initially and then realizing, "Oh my gosh, this is real," and he said, "I went back to my neighborhood and back to my house and grabbed things like passports and birth certificates and the things that couldn't be replaced."
right,
And my first thought was, "Why didn't that go with you the first time?"
right.
Um, I don't know about you. I have, a Go envelope that
You got to
I
have a go
have.
bag, the
Yes.
go bag.
Yeah, a
Yes.
go bag or a go box. Back around Y2K, I was cleaning my basement a few years ago, and I found this disaster preparedness kit that I had put together, in the event of Y2K, where they were thinking that all of the computers were gonna reset and we were just going to be catapulted back to the dark ages, and found this at the bottom of a stack of boxes. Okay. Uh, I didn't have any kids in Y2K, and I was going through boxes of toys and things to be given away, and found this tote box that had things like toilet paper in it and, a few other things that I really laughed at myself that I thought that was gonna have me prepared for a disaster.
Well, COVID toilet paper, you
Yeah,
were onto something there,
I
but you
was onto something,
you
wasn't I?
probably needed more than you had in that box.
I did. It was a 4-pack. It really wasn't gonna last very long. Um But I do have a plastic envelope, expandable envelope
Mhm.
that has passports, birth certificates, and other important documents as well as cash, okay? Um, that in the event of a disaster, I can grab that and go,
Yeah, you got to have it. Yep,
okay?
that's smart.
And, even this morning was watching a news story, now the police are trying to figure out how to patrol because looters are coming through.
Oh no, it's
Yes.
terrible.
And
Oh,
people are trying to come back and, on camera, they were digging and this lady found her safe
oh,
and opened it up and found some things in there that they were hoping would still be there and were. And then she had to prove to the police that she was the property owner and
right.
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
But being prepared is so much more than having that go box or that go bag ready to go.
yeah.
When we talk about being prepared from a financial perspective, we're talking about enhanced planning.
Okay. And what do you
Okay.
mean by enhanced planning for our
And
listeners and viewers out there?
enhanced planning is making sure that you have crucial documents in place
Mhm.
so that somebody can speak on your behalf if you can't speak for yourself. And also making sure that you have your wishes for the disposition of your estate, which is just a nice way of saying when do you die, where do you want your stuff to go, and
Right.
getting all of that structured and organized so that whoever is left doesn't have to sit there and try to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
uh,
you don't wanna leave a mess for your
no,
loved ones,
no.
and for those you leave behind, you don't wanna leave them, with, just a mess, which happens a lot, doesn't it?
It does, and,
Yeah.
we are hosting an enhanced planning workshop, on January 28th and 29th, I believe,
Oh,
out at
wow.
the out at the Matt Ross Community Center,
Okay,
where
coming up.
we'll be talking about the basics and talking about taxes and figuring out who owns what because you might not actually own what you think you own.
Yeah.
which I know sounds strange. Um, but if you don't have something like a trust in place or a will, whatever state you're living in has those state intestacy laws. They have an estate plan designed for you, even if you don't think you have one.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
fun things like in the state of Kansas, if you own a house jointly and you don't have some sort of deed that transfers the ownership upon your demise,
Hmm.
if you own that house in joint tenancy and you do not have an estate plan in place, when you pass away, your surviving spouse inherits half of that house. Your children, that spouse's children, inherit the other half.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
then you have to go through the logistics of actually signing over the house so that you, in fact, own your house free and clear. And
Hmm.
I'm not an attorney. I don't play one on TV. An estate planning attorney can spell that out a whole lot more clearly than what we're doing here. But it is important to think about being prepared ahead of time.
Yeah. And I know that's something that when you work on financial plans and retirement plans with your clients,
Mhm.
Barb, you make sure it's a requirement they all need to have an estate plan in place and you encourage them to do that. And I know you work alongside estate planning attorneys that you can recommend
We
to
do.
your clients and people that you meet with, right?
We do. And more crucially, I want them to have those durable powers of attorney
Hmm.
for healthcare decisions and for financial decisions. I have had to explain to a couple that has come into my office, that there's a fair amount where you have one member, one spouse that is the breadwinner, and the other one takes care of family and takes care of the household and those things. The downside to that is that if you don't have those power of attorney documents in place, like I have explained to these couples many times, Mr. and Mrs. Client. Mr. Client, the bulk of your savings is in your retirement account, and that is in your name only. So, Mr. Client, if you're alive and you can speak on your own behalf, we're in great shape. If you are dead and it goes to the beneficiary designations, we're not in as great a shape because you're gone, but at least we know where the money's going.
Right, and having beneficiary designations
Right.
and the proper transfer on death,
Mhm.
deeds, things like that are very important to set up,
They
and
are, but Mr. Client, if you are laying in a hospital bed and in a coma, without this durable power of attorney, you, Mrs. Client, cannot go to the 401k and get a loan to help continue paying your bills.
wow. Yeah, that's huge. So the powers of attorney are also very important is what you're
They
saying.
are.
Yeah.
They
Yeah,
are.
I did that with my parents
Good
and
for
made
you.
sure because and they are both in care and they both have
Mhm,
Parkinson's and
mhm.
my dad's cognitive abilities aren't as good and my mom can't get around so we have that all set up and I just the relief you feel and knowing there's a
Mhm.
plan in place is huge and I've already had to use the financial power of attorney that we set up
Yes.
because my dad really messed up his banking and his
Oh,
taxes. So
no.
I've had to take control. And, it
Mhm.
happens
It
because
does.
he's not, he's dealing with things as
Yeah.
he's older. So, thank God that's there because I told the bank and sent him a copy of the power of attorney. They said, great. Yeah, here's
Mhm.
access. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so,
And, on the medical side of things, I think I have told this story before on the podcast. I had a friend who was in his 40s, um, got divorced. His ex wife took the kids and they moved halfway across the country. Sadly, this friend had an alcohol issue
oh,
and literally ended up drinking himself into a coma and subsequently passing away from it. And from the time he got divorced, I and another friend of his who also happened to be a fiduciary kept asking him to get these documents done and get them put in place so that somebody could speak on his behalf. And um, this was a few years ago, we came back from a gala trip, as a matter of fact. And that other fiduciary friend called me and said, our friend is in the hospital. He's in a coma. He's not expected to wake up. So, I went to the hospital and I said my goodbyes, and the hospital staff very diligently came in and they're like, now explain to me who you are, please. And what it came down to was that they were trying to find somebody who had the legal authority to either authorize or the authorization to cease treatment.
Right.
And my friend happened to be a naturalized citizen. So the hospital ended up having to call halfway around the world to say, your son is not going to survive
Oh.
for you to make the trip,
Mm-hmm.
but we need your permission to take him off of life support.
Right.
While that is an extreme case,
Yeah.
do not do that to your family.
Yeah. Don't. Yeah. Have all your ducks in a row. Be prepared
Mhm,
for these types of things. And
mhm.
yeah, I mean, everywhere from having a go bag, which is funny. I read mystery novels or spy novels, and the spy has to have a go bag because they're after him,
Yes,
hidden
yes.
somewhere with money and passports. And but the go bag is important, the go envelope or with your
Mhm,
stuff. And then now we're talking about enhanced planning, which includes estate planning,
mhm.
and of course beneficiary designations.
And
One way you
yes.
can be prepared is make sure those are up to date, because if you get divorced and you don't change your beneficiary designations, you might get remarried, have a family for 20 years, and you pass, and your
Mhm.
ex-wife from 20 years ago gets everything because you never
'Cause
changed the
you never
beneficiary.
changed the beneficiary
Yeah.
designations. And, in addition to having that go bag or that go box, you might be in a situation where you can't physically take all of those crucial documents with you. Okay.
Right.
I'm talking about life insurance policies, your homeowner's insurance policy, investment information, insurance contracts, annuities, that kind of thing. You want to be able to have a place where you can store those electronically in the cloud. And I also encourage everybody to scan them and have them on one of those those thumb drives that you can
Sure.
stick in that go bag or
Sure.
in that go envelope. And thankfully, our clients have access to our generational vault, which has unlimited storage capacity and allows them to scan not only those crucial documents like those powers of attorney, the will, the trust. We also have clients, and I personally have scanned a lot of photographs into my vault
Yeah. Me
so
too.
that I know if, I mean, I had an issue where my basement was flooded because I had a cracked pipe.
Yep.
And I ended up losing some pictures because I foolishly stored them right underneath said pipe. Lesson learned, they're on another side of the basement now. But,
Right.
but for some of those I wasn't able to retrieve. Thankfully, I'm a photography nerd, so I still had the negatives, which tells you how long I've been taking pictures.
Yeah. What are those? Say the
What
kids.
are those? Yes. And I was able to get some of those pictures reprinted. But being prepared is not a linear thing. It is a multifaceted effort, and it's not, as much as I'd like to tell you you can sit down for an hour and have it done, some of this is a process that's going to take some time,
Yeah.
but you owe it to yourself to prioritize making this an important thing, and getting those tasks done.
Yeah.
Even if, you have to say, okay, I'm going to dedicate an hour every Saturday to making sure that those documents are uploaded, and if you've got a will or you've got a trust and you don't have an electronic copy, reach out to the attorney that did those for you, because they
Yep.
probably do have an
That's
electronic
what I
copy
did.
of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
To
find
make
out if
sure.
they've got a secure portal that they can transmit it to you so
Mhm.
that you can then upload it and have a copy of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
because not only their lives have been disrupted in the Los Angeles area
Mm,
on a level that we don't normally see in a
right.
first world country.
Yeah.
And not only have people lost their houses, but their financial advisor probably lost their business. Their insurance agent probably lost their office. Um, when you look at the catastrophic loss there,
Yeah.
it's not only personal lives, but business lives that have been
Yeah.
disrupted in doing this. Now with our company, we do have everything stored electronically. We've got a business continuity plan. Thankfully, our office is on the fifth floor. So, barring a pipe breaking, if we have a flood in our office, we've got much bigger problems. But,
Yeah.
there could be fire damage, there could
Yeah.
be other things that happen. Um, Nobody likes to think about those things happening. 2 weeks ago, nobody in the Palisades was thinking about what happens if we lose everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Malibu and the Palisades all along the PCH there. Yeah. You have to be prepared. And I know you and your business are prepared and your clients. And my wife and I use the generational vault, which you
Mhm,
offer at no charge for your
we
clients with
do. We
unlimited
do. It
upload
is a
space, which is
complimentary
an
offering.
amazing deal.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, and we have our founders to thank for that. We have Gradient and the team that supports us, because they make that possible for us to offer to our
Yeah.
clients.
It's nice.
And our hearts, thoughts, and prayers go out to everybody that's being impacted by all of this. As the dust settles and we find out how we can help from a giving standpoint, we'll be involved there. I know that there are members of the Gradient family that have been evacuated. So,
Yep.
and our prayers are with them
Yep.
for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, great show today, and a great message, and a lot of great tips on being prepared financially and with your estate planning.
Mhm.
Huge help. But Barb, how can our listeners out there get a hold of you if they want to set up a consultation and get these things in place?
They can reach out to us at the website anchoryourretirement.com, or you can always call us at area code 913-553-6222. Select the option for appointments and scheduling. I think it's option 4, but don't quote me on that. You would think I would know this by now, but it's been a long day. Um, and Amanda or another member of our team will get you on the calendar to visit with myself or another one of our qualified fiduciaries, and we will work to help make sure that you have all of these ducks lined up, because we care.
All right. That's great. And I know you do, Barb. That's great. And listeners, thanks for tuning in. And viewers, that does it for today's episode of Anchor Your Retirement with our host, Barb Gullen.
We'll see you soon.